Hey everybody, welcome back to this series on building confidence in our homeschool journey. As parents, so much of what we do could be questioned either by others or by ourselves as we move forward. There's so much opportunity for self-doubt and second-guessing our decisions. So we're talking in this series about how to build that unshakable confidence because the homeschool journey is not just a quick and easy thing. You're in it for the long haul. You're in it potentially from the time your child begins education at age 4 or so until they graduate high school. This is not an easy, quick endeavor. It is easier than people think, especially to get started, but it's not for the faint of heart, as they say. But anyway, we've already talked about in the first video about 4 obstacles that like to try to come against our confidence. But now we're talking about the 5 keys to unshakable confidence. Just for your reference, I do have all of these points laid out in a free ebook. If you'd like to grab it to take notes with, or as a reminder after this series is over, you can grab it at wiserhomeschool.com. And of course, subscribe and follow if you haven't already. So let's talk about the second key to unshakable confidence in running your homeschool. I say it like this: know who's driving the bus. And the answer is you are. I see so many homeschool parents who want to do this thing. They want to teach their children, but then they find themselves asking, well, what am I supposed to do about? And I say, wait a minute. What do you mean, what are you supposed to do? You're driving the bus. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, what about state requirements? Totally hear you, and I understand. Yes, you have to pay attention to state requirements. I consider state requirements kind of like the car inspection checklist that the mechanic uses once a year to make sure that my car is still in working order. Personally, as the driver of the car, I don't keep that checklist in front of me. I don't have it, attached to the windshield or something so I can see these things all the time. No, that's a reference that I use. My husband uses, let's be real. My husband takes care of that more than I do. So I give him credit for that. But that's a list that we use to make sure that when it's coming time for the inspection, that everything is in order, that our car is in good working condition and is going to pass inspection. And we do keep it way in the back of our minds so that, if a light on the panel comes on, we know, hey, we need to resolve that before inspection time. But we don't get into our car every time and pull out the inspection checklist and start making sure. No, they don't care where we drive, when we drive, how much we drive. No, these are just some guidelines, some parameters that we have to deal with once a year. For a lot of us, that's what state requirements are too. Now, I know some of you may live in really heavy reporting states where you have to report more than once a year. But for many of us, it's once a year. For some of you, I know it's once a quarter, something like that. But even still, you're driving the bus. You get to make the decisions. You decide about curriculum. You decide what subjects you're going to teach. Again, outside of any parameters that your state may have already dictated. You decide what time you're going to teach, what days you're going to teach. You decide all of it. And I hear so many times, well, what do I do if I'm not going to finish in time? And I say, what do you mean in time? You decide what in time is. Your school year doesn't have to start on August 22nd and end on May 18th. Just because the school system says that's you're not bound to that. You get to choose what's best for you and your family, going back to knowing your why, right? So remember that you're driving the bus. Now, if you're not comfortable making those decisions unilaterally, of course, you have resources like here at wiserhomeschool.com where we can help advise you and give you things to think about so that you can make the decisions. But ultimately, you are in the driver's seat and you are the one who gets to decide what goes and what doesn't when it comes to your homeschool. When you learn to accept that and to understand that you're the one in charge, it goes a long way for building that foundation of confidence that will never be shaken. So I just want to encourage you, you're the one in the driver's seat. You have a lot more in your control than you probably realize you do. And stick around because I'd love to help you discover that freedom so that you can continue doing what's best for your child in your homeschool. Join me next time where we'll talk about the third key for building that unshakable confidence. I'll see you then.